Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Jody. And here is her story. Hi, Ollie. It's Jody again. I must admit it is so freeing to have a sounding board on your channel, not to mention the invaluable advice, suggestions, and opinions you give as an added bonus. So thanks for that. I don't know what I would do without it. So I'm back again to update some more of my so-called life in relation to that disgusting demon that posed as a mother, Shirley. And boy, have I learned some troubling tactics orchestrated by her and my dad while they were married. For those who don't remember, Jody wrote in the first time thinking that her father was the problem, was cold, and what it turned out was her mother had been alienating her for her entire life. In this submission, I will talk about one incident in particular that is severely disgusting in my opinion. From now on, let's call her Parental Alienating Narc, or PAN for short. This has a double meaning as she's not human, so she is a PAN, literally an inanimate object with no feelings, no anything. I am calling her she because she is nothing to me anymore. She is disgusting for reasons I can get to, and I feel the need to distance myself from her as much as possible and move towards a psychologically healthier life. One that cannot include her in any way, shape, or form. Now on to some more information about my dad's experience with this crazy bullshit. I was told by my dad that when he and Pan were married, that there was one time when he was due to go to work late at night. At the time, they were self-employed and ran a milk round. You know, the old school days when the milk bottles got delivered to your house. Anyhow, this one particular night, not long before my dad was due to go to work, Pan, unbeknownst to my dad, had invited 3 men over to the house under the pretense of playing cards. Remember, 3 men, not women. According to my dad, it was half an hour before he was due to go to work by himself. Pan would be there for us kids while we were sleeping, and she was also the one that took care of the financial side of the business. To me, that is hilarious, as I will explain in another submission. Anyhow, the time was around 11:30 p.m., so it was reasonably late to be heading out to work. My dad told me he was puzzled at the time as to why these 3 men would be coming over with the way he was relaying it, and gave me the impression he didn't even know them. He said he looked back and it didn't sit well with him, but he bid his time before having to leave for work. Getting to know him better without filters on, I see him as the kind man who doesn't deliberately want or like to cause a scene. That is the only reason I can come up with as to why he didn't confront that disgusting person. Yeah, she picks on she looked for a guy who doesn't want a scene, who's embarrassed by a scene and doesn't fight back. They're the easiest ones to alienate. They're the easiest ones because they don't fight back. I felt so bad for my dad as he was recounting this experience with her, and I sincerely believe him. My dad also said that he wasn't ever going to tell me any of this until I started asking questions. He could have come to my brother and or I any time during our childhood and told us what had happened. But from my perspective and looking back, he never did. She, on the other, as you well know, did everything in the narc rule book. I can't believe he would leave her with 3 dudes to play cards in the middle of the night. Your mother is just a fucking... Ugh. Another memory came to me that correlates to the sexual deviance of Pan. It is the only conclusion I can come up with as to why she would invite 3 men over while my dad went off to work, and makes all the more sense to me now. When I was in my teens, my sister, who was younger than me by approximately 10 years to a different dad, She had a friend she liked to hang around with in and out of school. At the time, Pan and my sister's friend's mother also became friends through the friendship the girls had. I would have been about 16 and my sister would have been around 6. My sister's friend also had an older brother around the same age I was. He would come around quite a bit back then to spend time with myself and a friend of mine from work who lived in the next suburb to me. My friend and I had a bit of crush on the guy, but we kept it between ourselves and never expressed it to him. I remember we would spend time in the lounge room watching movies with my friend, the guy, and Pan. Pan didn't work for reasons I've explained previously. She was the sole parent in legal terms since my sister's father never lived with us and they never married. She also relied on the child support my dad gave her, so she didn't have to work and she could spend most of it on herself on things she liked to do, like smoking, drinking, and running my sister's dad back and forth from his house to ours. That part of my life for another time, though. Anyhow, I'm not sure what the guy did at the time, if he worked or not, but since my own friend and I had to get up to go to work the next day, she would leave reasonably early. I would go to bed so I could get up for work the next day. I remember the guy leaving early, and as I would fall asleep would sense he was continuing to watch the TV or whatever with Pan. To cut a long story short, I remember Pan vividly relaying to me not long after the mother of the guy confronted her about having an affair with him. Of course she was telling me this. She was straight off denying it. The guy's mother, however, called the relationship between herself and Pan quits, and rightfully so. It never came back to me until my dad told me the story of the 3 men. It was a totally different take on things in my mind, and I was recalling it. I believe she 100% slept with that young guy, albeit 20-odd years difference. How disgusting, so sick and perverted. Yeah, and she'll do anything. She'll do anything just to be a deviant, because she's a fucking whore and a liar. As she's running down your father, living off his child support. Unbelievable. So back to my dad's perspective, and while my little sister's father was around, there was another accusation that I now believe to be true, which of course was denied. Pan used to play a lot of sports, so of course all 3 of us kids have to tag along, looking after my sister, which my brother and I used to do quite often. Anyhow, around this time, Pan had another close set of friends from the sport. They also used to play it. They also had kids around our age that became our friends too. More so my brother and I, because my sister was only around 4 at the time and the rest of us kids were in our early teens. One night I remember being at the friend's house and I was asked at 14 years of age to look after my sister while all the adults went out to have fun. My friend and I were okay with it, and my sister would have gone to bed early, being so young anyhow. Quite a bit into the night, there was a panic coming from my friend's mom, who had returned home by herself and proceeded to tell me that her husband and Pan had been in a car accident. Cutting a long story short, they had all been drinking early on in the night. Pan's married friends had an argument while out at the sports club. The husband then turned around to Pan and asked her to take him home. She did. As soon as they got back to where their house is, he wanted to return and make amends with his wife, I am assuming according to what was relayed to me at the time. Yeah, right. I'm sure they were banging in the car. Now at the time, my pop-grandfather had just finished fixing a car he had either given or sold to Pan. Since Pan had driven the guy home, she now had her car. Well, next minute as mentioned, and unbeknownst to my friend and I, as we were inside and didn't hear anything, the car was still running and the guy jumped back into the car. Pan proceeded to jump back into the car too because of the work my pop had done on it and didn't want anything to happen to it. On the way back though, they went into the back or front of a truck since the guy was pretty drunk and the car was a write-off. Going off on a bit of a tangent here, this was a recent discrepancy between the stories as well, because my dad said he was told it was the front of the truck, and I was told it was the back of the truck. I'm not believing Pan, so who the hell knows? And again, according to Pan, which is most likely a lie again, the husband left her there and did a runner. Pan was taken to surgery as she had a broken humerus in her arm and a concussion to the head that required stitches. She for sure was gaining as much sympathy as she could while relaying this lie to me. Getting back to the story, my friend's mother, wife of the guy, not long after the event, confronted Pan about having an affair with her husband. At the time, of course, again, Pan denied it. But through talking to my dad, he said there was always something a little bit more to that friendship between Pan and the guy. My dad noticed the interaction between them, just like the wife did at the time. So putting all the pieces together as an adult, as my dad was telling his conclusions and putting them together with what Pan told me about the wife accusing her of having an affair with her husband, it's all clicking together for me. That liar. I believe this to be one of the major reasons as to why she alienated me from my dad, so she can continue being a disgusting sexual deviant. Yep. It's all about, I told you it was all about her pussy. I told her it was all about her vagina. Your mother thinks through her vagina. That's it. She's another one. She gets her supply by how many guys want her, how many unavailable guys. And it's not even... She wants a young guy so she can, like, steal his virginity. She wants guys that are going to make her vagina, put her vagina ahead of others. Married men. That's what she's into. That's what she does. She's not even, it's like she won't just screw anybody. She'll screw people that, you know, it's more meaningful. A young guy taking his virginity, a married man. 3 at a time. This is who your mother was all these decades, and for all these decades you thought your father was the problem. You had hostility towards your father. Also, just before going no contact, Pan would say to me over the last couple of years, I was her carer, which will have to be explained another time. I haven't had sex lately. I thought to myself, do I really need to know that? So as far as I'm concerned, and being out of the fog of all the disgustingness I've worked out, that she's not very smart. She should have kept her mouth shut about all these things to do with men. Didn't she realize that maybe someday the truth would all come out when people start talking to each other? And to think she used to say to my brother and I, get it through your thick head, while yelling at us for whatever reason. Who's the pot calling the kettle black now? In conclusion, I think she 100% cheated on my dad with my sister's dad. Had whatever she had with those 3 men while my dad was out slaving his ass off to provide for all of us. Had an affair with her friend's husband. Had an affair with the guy that was my age while with my sister's dad. All the while blatantly lying to everyone. And to think she sabotaged my first 2 relationships as explained in my last email submission. Oh, the hypocrisy, and I am not very happy about I can assure you. I would love your opinion on these 2. Have I come to the right conclusions, or am I kidding myself? Anyhow, thanks again for reading another part of my life experience with that disgusting, money-hungry sexual deviant. I will get to the money part of things and what I have put together another time. Jody. Not only do you have it right, Jody, I mean, this is only what you know about. This is only what you know about. What do you think the narcissist gets caught every time they cheat? They don't. This is only what you know about. Your mother is a disgusting narcissistic whore who only gets her value through her vagina. It's why she ruined your relationships. It's why she's done what she's done. She didn't want your father telling you what he's telling you now back then. That's the reality of it. And the reality is, These stories you're telling me is only the tip of the iceberg. This is only what you know about. That's the scary. That's the scary thing, is you can only write in about what you know about. Like, there is stuff you probably don't even know about, and because unbelievable. So, thank you for another contribution and story. I really appreciate it, Jody. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.